let's talk about how to find cheap houses for sale in the UK so that you can potentially nail down an awesome investment property deal this week. Hi, my name is Tony Daw from The First 4 Houses, and I teach people how to build a small property portfolio that generates a great income for them so they can give up the day job if they wish, because they're now financially free. If this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click that bell notification icon so that you don't miss out on any of the free content that I give you each and every week. So today I want to talk about how to find cheap houses for sale using both online and indeed offline methods. And so let's start right off with a couple of online search techniques that really can help you uncover some potentially cheap houses. So if you go to Rightmove or indeed Zoopla as an example, after you've set in your criteria for the type of property that you're looking for, sort by the lowest price first. This really can throw up some potentially great deals that you might otherwise have missed. And if you're using Zoopla, you can also sort by most reduced, which really can highlight some fantastic opportunities, some fantastic properties that have maybe really stepped down in price. Sort by oldest listed first of all. Why does that help you? Well, because sometimes these owners can be, let's be honest, a little bit despondent with the amount of interest that they got. Maybe they thought they were going to put their property in the market and it would be snapped up straight away, but this hasn't happened. And so now maybe they've got to a point where they're really open to doing maybe a creative deal, maybe just giving a really good discount off of the purchase price. Obviously your job is to connect with those people and then put a good offer in front of them. Set up automatic alerts for your criteria, and where you're doing this, make sure that you set the price that you're willing to pay quite low. That way when something is thrown up that meets your criteria, well, you're going to go and have a little look at that, aren't you? Gumtree can be a great source for online deals, and often the advertisers are the owners themselves. And what that means is that when you pick up the phone and speak to that advertiser, you're talking to the owner of the property. So obviously that gives you a great opportunity to negotiate a deal without, dare I say it, an estate agent maybe looking over your shoulder. Never overlook commercial agents, as these can often have odd and quirky deals. And if you go online, go onto those websites, search for commercial estate agents in your area, I bet you can find one or two interesting little properties that could potentially make a cheap house or two or three or indeed flats, for example. Look for DIY advertisers. This is a great tip. And by this I mean these are usually going to be the owners themselves that are actually advertising those properties. You can usually tell because there's one or two or three or four different companies out there that are kind of geared towards the owner selling the property themselves. Off the top of my head, I can think of Express Estate Agency or maybe Purple Bricks or something like that. Usually that's the owner that's going to have placed that advert, but there's a few others as well that slip my mind just for a moment. But if you go and speak to those people, well, the chances are the person that shows you around the property is of course going to be the owner of that property. Does that give you a great opportunity to sit down with a cup of tea and negotiate a really good deal with them? I'd suggest it might. By the way, if you're finding this video helpful, I would love it if you could take a moment just to click on that like button down there. It really helps me if that's okay. And so how can you find cheap houses for sale offline? Well, you should be connecting with sources in your investment area. So go onto Facebook, have a little look on Facebook. I bet you find one or two or three sources that could maybe help you find cheap houses in your investment area. Go to networking events. I always say it, but arrive early. This is because I used to host an event for 6 years. And the people I cared about were the people that arrived early and kind of helped me out. They were the people I wanted to have a chat to. And stay late, because never forget, deals happen in the bar. Always keep some handwritten, or they look like handwritten, leaflets in your car. So when you're out and about and you find an amazing potential property, you've got a leaflet, again it looks like it's handwritten, and you can go and put that through the letterbox, so that maybe they're not going to sell today, but maybe in a little while down the line they may well be picking up the phone and giving you a call. And of course when they do so, you can negotiate a potentially great deal with them. There's a ton of ways that you can find off-market deals, which means you can find some great discounts by dealing direct with the seller, because again, dare I be so bold as to say, the estate agent isn't there looking over your shoulder. And certainly in my online property masterclass, I cover a load of different marketing strategies that we won't have time to go into here that can help you get directly in front of the seller. Auctions can unearth some really cheap houses for sale, but please do your due diligence, and I would also strongly suggest you've got to actually connect with and speak to your solicitor and put the information pack under his or her nose before you ever bid on any property. And lastly, please walk your area. There are so many deals out there that are within a mile's walking distance of where you are. You just haven't spotted them yet because you haven't walked your area. So just a few quick additional thoughts here just to help you, if I may. You need to look at a lot of houses and you need to make a lot of offers. If you do that, honestly, if you make a lot of cheeky offers, you will pull up some incredible deals if those offers are a little bit cheeky. And talking about this, please don't be afraid to negotiate strongly. Yes, I always want this to work well for the seller, but this has to be a deal for you. You're a property investor, so this has to be a great deal for you. So don't be too afraid to put in some really quite cheeky offers. Always be on the lookout for rundown, knackered houses. There are so many of them out there. You should be looking for these places that are really run down, because these can be potentially great cheap houses. And lastly, can I just say, sometimes the price a property is actually advertised for makes it already an absolutely fantastic deal. And the more properties that you go and see, the quicker that you will recognise that fantastic deal when it actually crops up. In my completely free online property mini course, I will teach you how to build a small property portfolio that generates a great income for you, but without needing to put in big deposits. Simply click the link here to find out more.